Mike, turn your games down.
Hi everybody, welcome to our mini episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's talking about a browser game with me tonight?
Hi, I'm Dominic. This was my idea, I think.
Yes. No, it was. Not, I think. It was.
It was. Okay, I'll take credit for that.
It wouldn't have happened otherwise.
Kyle from the RPG show. Usually I have a good quip, but there aren't a lot in this game, so here I am. This is what I got. Welcome.
But you also brought up a very interesting thing. Is the word game even applicable here?
You know what? It's close. It's kind of close to Radical Dreamers.
You could select
Radical Dreamers like a
dialogue.
toy.
You could select which thing in Radical Dreamers you wanted to do. That's more of a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, that's
respect to
fair,
that.
but
This you can go in and you can select maybe triangle, I think sometimes. I couldn't even tell you what you press. But if you press a button, it'll explain deeper the term in that sentence, kind of like the new Final Fantasy 16 and Tactics do with the State of the Realm.
We were watching a YouTube video.
But we watched YouTube videos. Fortunately, you watched the one where the guy was way over intense on checking all the data, because that's the one I watched.
Not the one I watched.
Ooh,
I don't think so.
It helped.
Whatever one I linked to that's like an hour something long.
Yeah, that was the one I watched.
Yeah.
So Dominic, why don't you introduce what we're talking about?
This is Xenosaga 2 to 3, A Missing Year, which as a fan back in the day was the concept of an idea that I didn't really know what it was. And from my best understanding now that it's like a thing that exists and that I can like experience, it was a thing that Namco was doing on the website between 2 and 3, like installments of this visual novel kind of experience that would be released. And then I think like 6 of them, or like enough of them got released. Episode 3 came out, and then this kind of went away.
Which is weird.
It's very much story relevant. I mean, 3 does kind of address and summarize what happens, but like it's a chapter. It's a thing. And it is the most like maligned, like kicked to the side once it existed kind of thing that I think we've ever covered.
While it is weird, I will say this sort of thing did kind of exist. And as you mentioned earlier in Kingdom Hearts, even Final Fantasy VII with Ever Crisis and all that, they made these weird like interim web or mobile only series to keep people interested. But that like PC or PlayStation 2 crossover never really happened. Like, remember when you used to buy strategy guides and you'd just like get a link half the time, and you would like link through that in the PS2 era? I think it was that era.
It was just one.
Like, this will happen, but it never really did, honestly. And I think this is one of those games where they're just hoping that like, hey, it's going to be like .hack and the internet will connect with your big game and it'll be awesome. Like, nope, that never flew. Sorry, guys.
Thematically, it kind of fits. And I know that in Japan there was like a compilation called Xenosaga Freaks that also had some like visual novel segments of some sort.
Oh, that's cool.
But that I know even less about like what that means than this.
Well, you probably can't find it. I mean, this was, like you said, taken offline. We just watched it because somebody on YouTube had thankfully backed it up and translated it. So we just sat and watched a video of it.
Not the best translation in the world, but it was good enough.
I mean, considering I don't speak Japanese at all, I didn't know. I know a couple. I know very little. I know arigato. That's about it, unfortunately. I used to know Japanese a little bit, but
it's the classic localization versus translation debate, because there's some lines in there I'm like, that was probably translated literally.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is just a weird thing that exists. Like, I do remember what you're talking about, Kyle. Like, where they were trying to do that as a thing. You'd have random stuff that would connect in a way to other things that were going on, but it was a time and place.
Yeah, it never worked right.
I actually always wanted to play that FF7 mobile game that you spoke of, but that it doesn't exist anymore. I tried.
It's terrible.
And I know
isn't Ever Crisis?
They put Xenosaga 1 and 2 on DS. That's like a demake thing.
Yeah, that's on my to-do list.
This seems like it would have been like the perfect like epilogue or like an additional bonus to have after you've beat that.
Yeah, but someone didn't want to go through the effort to put it on there. So, I mean, we were just watching a video, which is it was essentially just clips of dialogue, text, lots and lots of text.
And some database entries.
So, and it takes place between Xenosaga episode 2 and 3, which I didn't recognize Shion right away because they changed her outfit, and I didn't know who that was for a good chunk of time before I realized, oh, that's Shion in the pink jacket.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That makes more sense.
And she has the scarf and everything. Like,
I have
be fashion,
no idea what we watched.
things.
I did not understand anything that we watched.
Okay. let's work through it a little bit. So
yeah. How deep do we need to go here? Should we just do the overall idea and cut
Dominic
it up?
wants to go with this.
Yeah.
I'll kind of give some overview, and then if you want to dig into a little bit more, we can kind of stop and go a little bit, because it basically starts out with Xion kind of recapping what's happened with this whole little story that's happened. Things kind of got a little shimmeled around after Xenosaga episode 2. She kind of took some, not like a vacation, but she was definitely in the background.
Real quick, let's just remember at the end of Xenosaga 2, basically everyone's I'm done. Yes. They are so overwrought with all the shit that's happened that they're mentally checked out.
Right.
That's where we leave everyone off. And then at the start of 3, you're on a beach. So let's there's this is the context in between. There is, yeah, but still, this is let's remember that to start where everyone's at, right away. That this whole party is
I did not remember that.
Checked out. Yeah.
And so much has happened.
Yeah.
Yes. And so much has happened with the Cosmos project and everything that Xion's a little, not quite super questioning what Vector is doing yet, but a little, suspicious, a little on the edge of something's happening here, but not quite grasping what that is. And then she hears about, Jin is doing some investigations with Yuli Mizrahi, who, was the wife of Yaki Mizrahi, who was the mad scientist in the first game who did a lot of shit.
Okay, that's why that sounded familiar. Okay.
And then there is this idea of the Gnosis terrorism, which is a bunch of kind of planned Gnosis attacks on civilians that can just kind of start and stop. And they've kind of figured out that someone seems to be doing this somehow.
It's gotten significantly worse, and they've discovered that up to 40% of the attacks seem to be organized by a thing, and they're not sure what. Whereas before, they were all random attacks.
Because they're essentially just monsters, the Gnosis.
Yes, but
yeah,
they it seemed to be random in the previous game.
We're going to find out what the Gnosis are.
Right.
Not in this, right?
No, in 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was because if there was, I didn't catch it. It took me 2 days to watch this hour-long video. 2 days. I would watch it in parts and then walk away and watch it. I can't do this any longer.
It's dense, for sure.
Yeah.
But so, in this point, so Xion's kind of I don't really talk to Jin. Some stuff's going on. I'm trying to work on the Cosmos thing, but things keep getting a little, flipped around a little bit. So it's not I don't know how to say it. It's not the same thing it was before. And then, Cosmos is still getting rented out or whatever to go deal with stuff with Jin. And then they kind of come into contact with this organization called Scientia. And Scientia seems to be after this girl that has something to do with the terrorism. And there's this woman named Doctus who is part of Scientia. And in this, she
explained in the Pied Piper, by the way.
Oh, really?
The Pied Piper we have.
Yeah. The Pied Piper is where,
right?
Scientia and Doctus and all that come from. Yep.
Yeah, so that's a mobile RPG for phones that happened around the same time. That was only just recently, confirmed to be archived.
Mm-hmm.
So,
translate
way before we experienced that.
It was, yeah.
But that's also about Ziggy's story. So that's what I always thought that was. But
yeah,
anyway.
It's Ziggy's friend who makes this entity is what it's about.
Okay.
Somebody shows me how to play it and says, "Hey, let's do it." I won't say no, unfortunately. Part of me wants to do the entire Xenosaga or the entire Xeno series. Yeah,
I'm down. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
You have to figure it out. I'm not looking for it. I'll just do it if someone hands it to me. That's it.
Sure.
Otherwise, I don't want
to. I need the Charlie from It's Always Sunny meme right now to just describe what's going on in this game.
I didn't understand shit. So I understood Xion was in a computer world, and this girl that she's talking to, not real, gets turned into a Gnosis, then got cut up, but got saved in the end. And for some reason, Ellie from Xenogears, not Ellie, is in here named Nephilim.
Yes, that's kind of where it ends up. But this Gnosis terrorism, they figure out that it's being run by this guy named Grimoire Verum. And he seems to be just kind of an entity in the UMN. The UMN being the thing that everyone uses to access the internet, transport everywhere. It's basically light speed and everything you need.
I thought the UMN was a government.
There's UMN organizations.
Yeah.
And Vector controls the UMN.
Yes.
It's they control the internet then, pretty much, right?
It's basically the internet all in one. It's kind of it's weirdly like the back rooms company, if you're familiar with that lore, oddly enough. But close enough.
Okay.
Vector is the megacorp of all megacorps. They control all technology and science, pretty much.
But because this was early 2000s, the internet is basically enough.
And there are other companies, and
Yeah.
episode 1 kind of covers this with Hyams and everything, but really it's Vector. Vector and Hyams end up being linked in episode 2, I believe. And so, Xion eventually gets roped into the investigation into this girl that seems to be tied to the Gnosis terrorism and Grimoire, and Scanty seems to be after her and trying to kidnap her, maybe kill her. Jin and Xion kind of team up to go save her, and they kind of figure that she's a 100 series Realian that was made around the time that Momo was made, but there's no record of her or what she was doing.
Okay, I did catch some of that. I caught that she was Aurelian and she didn't have memories or something.
Right. No memories, no record of what she was doing or why she was there.
Yeah.
And so they know all of this. Xion and Jin go to confront Giantia, who's kidnapped her, and you have to help me with this. They somehow, Xion gets put into like a coma, basically, and put into the UMN, into this computer world.
I didn't understand how that happened, but yes, she goes inside the computer.
I mean, considering that the series is about diving into consciousnesses and like investigating memories and seeing how people lived,
the whole thing.
It's kind of this version of it.
Yeah, so basically, they're trying to hook up the one, and then Xion, just like Palpatine, gets knocked unconscious.
Grimoire may have had something to do with it.
Maybe. She becomes a vegetable.
Yes.
Okay. I caught that part. I mean, Jin played a big part in this because he's around all the fucking time.
And the girl is scared of Jin, and they're not sure why.
Because
then they find out that
they were trying to put her in the head thing for whatever reason, trying to stop it. It's just like zap.
It was Xion's father, also Jin's father, that was involved in it, correct?
If you really put the pieces together afterwards, probably the girl touching the thing and then touching Xion caused one to jump to the other, and because of their connection, that would put them in the same mind wipey whatever dealio.
Because she was already talking to Nephilim throughout the series. And
so it's make it work. How about that?
And as you kind of learn, she knows the girl from when she was a child. So
Nephilim is the Ellie lookalike that's a little kid.
Yes.
I know that's not a terrible description, but if you're listening to this, chances are you play Xenogears. So
here's a better one. Is it one of up to 3 children whose parents are trying to put their souls into a Realian? One of 2? One of 3. I think it's 3.
I mean,
at least 2.
There's the Momo kind of Sakura subplot. You can talk about the Ziggy subplot in a similar way, but different.
Joachim himself is trying to put himself back in a body, and then this one is 4.
I mean, you have the Uriev stuff as well.
5. So 5
talking about
5 parents trying to revive their kids' souls who died in Realian's bodies,
and or their souls as well.
Or their souls is kind of the entire point of this story.
Okay.
At the end of the day.
So what you kind of end up learning, if you really read into it, is that Xion, when Xion was a kid, the games all kind of touch on this. But when Xion was a kid, she was in this institute where her father worked as a scientist.
Spoiler, this is the story of 3.
Yeah, 3 covers everything about her being a kid, what her dad was actually doing. Yes.
Yep.
But what you learn here is that her dad actually worked with Joachim Mizrahi. She was likely lied to and believed that he was working on something really innocent and whatever. But now she's learning that he's involved in everything that's happened at some level.
Okay.
And so then there's also this element called Lemegeton. And Lemegeton is
not Lemegeton.
Isn't it Lemegeton?
No, you are right. Yeah, I read it the other way.
I read it every time I saw it on the screen.
It looks like Lemegeton. Yeah,
fair enough.
That's how I read it. I had no idea what it was though. I was like, all right.
So Lemegeton, it's explained that Lemegeton was a control system back on Earth or Lost Jerusalem that they used to control the Gnosis. This was done by a man named Grimoire. Lemegeton was then lost, owned by Vector, something like that. And then in the Joachim's research, he kind of revived the idea of Lemegeton and used it as the basis for the Song of Nephilim, which was the point of the first game.
Okay.
That's where Momo went, and that's where that whole thing with Albedo happens. They keep talking about the song. And so Lemegeton, it's something about the phrases of God or something like that in the Bible or whatever. I don't entirely know my Christianity on that.
Don't worry, because I somewhat do, and a lot of what they use are literally just religious catchphrases that have no real association, but they have religious aspects. So, like, Proto Merkaba is the name of a ship. The Merkaba is the symbol of the Star of David.
Right.
What connection does that have to the ship in literally any way?
It's the first draft of the Star of David.
It doesn't, but Merkaba sounds really cool, and it's a religious term. These games do that to the nines. Like, it's that's very the real Evangelion thing. Yeah, they throw everything they can in there that has a religious tone, but the nomenclature doesn't match with the thought process that it's supposed to.
It's like using Norse mythology as window dressing for a story. It's using Christianity in a similar way.
Yes, a lot of Xenosaga does that, and it's good. Don't get me wrong, but
it's interesting.
Don't get too deep into it, or you'll just confuse yourself because the connection does not exist. Literally,
it's kind of the funny thing is socially we accept Christianity in its various forms as a real religion, a legitimate thing, and so then for the societal acceptance of that and what that means plays into how you interpret the story.
Yep,
in ways that Greek mythology and Norse mythology do not. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Limigeton is this program that has somehow survived all this time, and it's been split apart into fragments, and these fragments are everywhere or something. And Yuli has one, and it's given to Jin. But like, it turns out that this girl, the one that was kidnapped, she calls herself Nephilim, but she's clearly not Nephilim. She's apparently been told by Grimoire that she needs to find all the fragments and bring them to him.
I understood that.
Jin has one. Others exist somewhere, presumably. And they kind of make it seem like Jin's is the last one, which I think I might have missed something there. I don't entirely know.
I mean, it doesn't help that what you're watching is also, fan translated.
Right.
There's that too.
Yeah. They give you the idea of what they do, which is like you can implant them and then you can summon Gnosis and you turn into a Gnosis, but you remember you have a consciousness as a Gnosis at the same time.
Oh, okay. So that's how this Grimoire guy's been doing what he's been doing.
Yep.
Essentially.
Yeah. And I think, doesn't it go back and also explain the Gnosis? Like, because what do they turn into in the first game when you kill them? Is that
they turn into like salt?
Yeah, so it also tells you that they're made of potassium benzoate, which is the salt connection, I believe, that you get later on. So this basically shows you that, like, these fragments are making the Gnosis, and, like, that's what's going on here.
And so then this kind of the central conflict as we get to the end of it is this girl that calls herself Nephilim really wants to get her memories back because she's been promised them by the Grimoire guy, and no one quite understands why or what's going on. But then you kind of learn that, okay, Grimoire is the father of Nephilim, the real one, who was also back on Earth and also seems to be a lost soul wandering the UMN through this entire time, and cosmically is connected to Xion. And Grimoire's whole thing is he wants to bring her back. It's very classic anime, like Tezuka stuff. He wants to bring her back and using this arcane way to do it. And she wants to believe in it because she wants her memories back. And he doesn't super mean it that he is actually going to give it to her. He just wants to implant his daughter's memories into her. And God, what's her name? It's like something a little strange.
The girl's actual name?
Yeah.
Oh, it's El something.
Almeida or something.
Yeah, is that it? Almeida? Yeah, Almeida. Shoot.
Almadel.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
And so at the end, Xion starts to remember that, oh, I know this girl. I met her when I was a child in the facility where my father worked. And you kind of get a sense of she's always kind of coming in at the worst moment, coming in, and she's being a child and be like, oh my gosh, this girl looks hurt. She looks sick. We need to do something. And they're clearly in the middle of like this science experiment that's meant to, not give a shit about any of that. And so, they kind of chronicle these few days that Almadel and Xion have known each other, and Xion then just forgets everything and goes on with her life.
But it explains why Almadel sees Jin earlier and flips out because Jin looks
a little bit like his father.
Yep.
Okay.
Which, if you look at the illustrations, they look different.
Not.
Yeah.
But if you're
they were probably supposed to before this crew got a hold of the art direction, because it's clearly a little different than the rest of it.
And I would say the art direction's a little weak, but that's another component perhaps to talk about in a minute.
I mean, for Xenosaga 3 or just for this?
For this is very
compared
much
to the others.
Xenosaga 1 and 2
I mean, this
aesthetic.
is just strange. Completely, to me, it's just a completely strange thing that I don't even really understand why or how it exists.
That's a great question. It's
like,
again, it's this thing, like apparently, Tezuka Takahashi and Soraya Saga had this whole thing mapped out in all these chapters. supposed to be 6 games, right?
How that work out?
Right, but then it's like, well, we have all these things that are cropping up now as this series continues to evolve, and all these like little origins and side stories, or it's like, where was this supposed to fit in? How was this supposed to work? And so it's kind of like, well, we'll just put that chapter in like this thing, and we'll put that chapter over there because, you know, that's important, but it's not like, you know, pivotal.
See,
Anyway,
it's fun because, I'll get back to that later, but let's finish the story.
Right. Yeah. It ends with Almadel getting her memories back because she connects with Xion. But then, because of the whole fragments thing, she starts becoming a Gnosis. And Jin somehow realizes that if he just uses his blade, and he's also come into the virtual reality world. I don't remember. I think it's just diving in like the Encephalon, I guess. But if he uses his blade, he can cut the Gnosis in half and save the girl. And he does that, and she survives. And then they kind of have a heart-to-heart, her and Xion, where she finally learns to move on and let go. And as Grimoire dies, so then does Almadel.
Wait, real quick, though. We missed the part where Jin slaps Xion.
Oh, right. Well,
because
that bothered me.
Right. Well, Xion's habit in this up to now has kind of been these moments of like, I really cannot move on from this. I am really sad and depressed and feeling a lot of emotions. And maybe that comes into play in the next game. We'll see.
I have a strange idea you might know. Because both of you already beat 3, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But I'm only realizing now that like, there may be a reason that happened. It's not a great moment for Jin. Not at all.
No, it isn't.
But now
I want to at least cover that because that is highly spoken about in the coverage of this, at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then it ends with Xion being like, oh, well, my dad is tied now to Joachim, and well, Vector clearly knew about what was going on because if the Gnosis are using the UMN and Vector controls the UMN, then Vector must have known about the terrorism.
Did they
stop it?
I apologize. Is the tie-in between the UMN, the Gnosis, and this, or is it all in the third game?
It's here too because
so they basically do show that like when people die, they can either become...
not that part.
No, not that part. Okay, well, that's what I was...
That part's kind of talked about a little bit because they show in the first game,
they do.
People turning into salt and dying, but not the way that 3 explains it.
Okay. That's
here. They just talk about Gnosis transporting through the UMN and the idea that Vector must know about it because they control the UMN. Therefore, Vector is complicit in some way and knows a lot of things. And they also have like found the S division, which is a secret division. The 3rd division was also created for Xion to continue her work.
It was
so
the R's something as well. That her dad works for the part of Vector. What is it? The R's? I can't remember.
Or the R's something or other. That was like that was the digital world. That was like the area that was like associated with Nephilim back in Lost Jerusalem. What is it called?
The Ars Nova. Yeah,
the Ars Nova was tied to Nephilim, and that's why they were there at that time. But because Xion now is like really suspicious that her dad's tied into this now, and she assumed that he was innocent and just a scientist, and she took after him, and now her employer is revealed to be doing a bunch of shady shit, and she's also been like demoted for these actions in this game. Like she is no longer the chief. Yeah, she's not the chief lead designer of Cosmos anymore.
She literally steals Cosmos twice.
Yeah, I thought she was fired after that.
Like, she should have been, but she wasn't. That's the thing. She has to quit.
I think it's a really interesting question. Knowing the 3rd game, why does this matter? Why is this the point where she gets fired?
Yeah,
but she does not fired, but she gets reassigned, and it's a big demotion. She still can work on Cosmos, but she's not the lead anymore.
Yeah. But then she quits anyway.
Yes, she does, and she's like, I don't feel good about this. I need to quit.
She's heartbroken.
The other thing we're not really talking about... Or no, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's a really interesting look at, like, megacorps and, like, the people that work for these technology companies and being faced with, this is going beyond what I'm comfortable with. This is getting to really shady illegal territory, and I got personally affected by that, so I'm going to leave, but my morals have been crossed. Mm-hmm. I think that rings true more now than it did then.
Oh, God, yes. We're looking at AI, so...
Yeah, I like the way that it gets there, but I kind of wish that the story was less so roundabout in how to do so, or like I was mentioning before, just the weird religious nomenclature. Like, it's cool that you want to add religion to your story, but make it make a little more sense. I feel like you could have told everything you're trying to tell here, like mega corporation bad, these things are taking over everything and they're tracking us and all this shit, but I don't need you to make me shoot one of 667 replicas of a guy who has an idea, who's controlling a bunch of scientist kids, who some of them connect, and then like they mind wipe each other because they don't want a connection thing. Like,
I mean, okay,
to be fair,
we can make the story work without the albedo and all
very
that.
Weird and very.
I get it. Yeah,
that's like the.
But and then you add like you're just putting so many extra levels of this stuff. Yes. Like I get that you're trying to be deep, but it's not as deep as you're really making. It's like vector bad science in space. Let's stop things.
I want to push back on that a little bit because I think the way it portrays Vector is really nuanced and interesting. And that's one of the successes of the story, is that by diving deep enough into showing us the different people that work for it and the different divisions and like Miyuki and Wilhelm and everybody, we get a good sense of how big they are, how much they control, and how ultimately shady they are, in a way that like just saying, oh, Vector bad is not enough.
Beyond the scope that there's multiple planets, what's really the difference between this and Shinra?
Again, I think it just goes down to you get a better idea of like who actually works for Vector and how
Heidegger, Scarlet, Reeve, Mayor Domino.
Well, when you learn about in episode 2 that Vector is actually the one that's secretly in control of Hyams, and Hyams is this weapons manufacturer that is the rival of Vector, and like they've had a whole history with Ormus. When you learn that Vector is actually controlling that also, that opens up another wave of like, oh, this is like a global conspiracy.
Yeah, like I love taking down corporations. Love that. But I do feel like some of the stuff they throw in here is just a little like, I don't know. I don't want to say they just want to like sound smart, but it just seems like they just found a bunch of buzzwords for religion and threw it in here to make it sound religious, but there's not a lot of ties.
I would ask you if we're in 67 TC, whatever, thousands of years after Earth is gone and we're still doing Christianity, how would it be done?
Yeah, I totally respect that. Again, like I understand, but it is one of those things. I think they took it a little too on the nose, because if that's the case, I would hope that they wouldn't get the words Nephilim and Merkaba, because you and I today, as people like, I studied religions in college, a whole bunch of them, whoever has or hasn't, great, but those aren't common terms for the layperson. I mean, we're throwing Nephilim all over the place. Like, yes. I get that's a sect of angels, but most people wouldn't.
I didn't know that.
We're saying this is a little girl. Like a little girl's named Nephilim. That she has nothing to do with a society, a level of angels in the hierarchy. Maybe they tacked it on.
In the story, she kind of works as an angel or an otherwise ethereal being that appears at certain times.
It's just this weird mix of like it's niche, it's like a little Dostoevsky, all like mushed together. It's like a weird wet dream of like stuff. Yeah, exactly. And I respect it. They use a lot of the stuff in the right way. A lot of the psychology stuff they use right, but the religious parts are kind of just shoehorned in here to sound, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a counter to the psychology aspects, but maybe it's mistranslated. That's respectful.
I mean, that's something that we have to think about when talking about this little game, is because this is a fan translation. This was never officially, translated, and never will be, because it doesn't even exist in any shape or form. So
I mean, but even in the terms of the larger series, a lot of these, like they clearly took the terms from the series and input them. So at the very least, we have that.
Yeah.
I also just want to note too that there are several songs from episode 3 that are kind of in their beta form here, which I think is really cool. And again, like Radical Dreamers, but it's Radical kind of Dreamers like the dark and gritty 2000s version of Xenogears.
Mm-hmm. It is. And you have to respect it for what it is. It's also one of the things, they made a trilogy and they kind of finished it, even though it wasn't the way they wanted to. They did, and that didn't happen a lot at this day and age. So, like, props for them for having that much. But you could tell it was one of those things. It's the George R.R. Martin, cart before the horse, whatever. But you made a thing that was too big to finish correctly. You have to do it the Suikoden way, where you're just making like 5 little vignettes and you just try to tie them together to the best of your ability. But you don't start. You don't start by wanting to do that. People who start to want to do that get too big, and then they never finish. That
Remember Advent Rising?
I got one game.
But yeah, it's one of those ones, like, it works better when you take those, like, small things and you kind of hope they tie in, not let's make this
not make a
7-arc, 21-game series
Shenmue,
based off Xenogears.
You can do it with books. Martin didn't, but you can do it with books because you can just make the books. But a game, you have to convince someone to give you millions of dollars.
Right. So. I get the pitch is that, like, it's a series, people love series, and entices people to keep going.
Yeah.
But also we kind of see that with series, the further you go, generally the sales dip down a little bit by bit because certain people drop off.
Yeah, but a really nice way to kind of encapsulate this whole, like, the whole Xeno everything together is it was too big for what it wanted to be and never really became what it should or could have become. And this, again, is one of those things, like, this could have been its own game. You can't tell me that you couldn't have had Doctus, like, kicking Cosmos' ass in 2 or 3 different fights throughout a game.
Right.
But I get this in a web-based flashed series because you ran out of cash because you made too much of a game before that didn't sell. Like,
meanwhile, they're making big Kaitos on the side as well.
Right? Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You need to play those one day.
I think Namco Cross Capcom also came out at the same time as this too. Like, they were busy. They were doing stuff.
That was it. They were way too busy, and then they tried to make this, like, huge anime hack cross. Like, let's have an anime and a game and a whole other thing that ties in with another game.
About Namco and Bandai when they were rivals? Bandai had hack, so therefore Namco had to have their serial.
That makes sense.
But also, if you think about it, Square gave this couple that had never done, like, a major story before the license to make a part of what was to be their magnum opus, apparently.
Yeah, like, right off the bat. And they're like, no, this isn't going to be Final Fantasy VIII, but let's give you your own thing. And then, like,
it was supposed to be 7.
Yeah, originally, yeah.
What? Oh no, okay, you were right. What is it? Yeah, 7. But then it's like, yeah, how did we get to, like,
we can't keep going. I guess we gotta start over. We'll finish Chrono Cross, I guess, but we'll move on and make Monolith and let's try it again. Oh, they didn't quite work out. Let's just do it game by game now.
Yeah, it's one of these things, like, don't get me wrong, I like the development team, but where do all these kudos come from? Like, what did they develop that was this wildly successful thing where people just kept giving them the reins with no harness at all?
I mean, it's a team that worked together on, like, Chrono Trigger and Xenogears, obviously, and Chrono Cross.
A little bit, but they weren't the main team.
I mean, the story people went to Monolith. I mean, Masato Kato was at least a freelancer there for a while.
Well, sorry, the first Gears, because the writers weren't direct Chrono Trigger, I thought.
Well, Takahashi and his wife, I think, worked on Chrono Trigger and
those two
of the era in other ways. Like, they were like field designers and map designers.
Yes, that's it. They were in those games, but below them. And then all of a sudden they got Xenogears, and then after that, everyone's like, whatever they say goes. It's a weird way, but I've actually heard people say this before. It's weird, but they're kind of like the John and Yoko Ono of the video game industry. Like, they had one hit, and then all of a sudden people are like, do whatever you want. You are allowed to just do this. And they're like, religion, yes, go.
It's Hirohide Sergiura or something like that? That was the guy that worked at Square, like, as the producer. He worked on, like, Tobal 2 and Ergheis. Even he was the producer of Xenosaga and Baten Kaitos that left with them. So I guess maybe he had some pull as well.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. They had some pull, but it is one of those things, like, yeah, you guys worked on the behind the scenes stuff, but why did the two of you become the most popular two of that whole team? Or how did
I love the idea of them, like, Square just being like, we're doing Final Fantasy VII, pitch us shit. We'll see where it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
But then what we're doing now, Missing Year, is basically like the Clone Wars of this whole thing.
I disagree, because it doesn't seem that important. But I also haven't played 3 yet, so.
Like, 3 starts, and you're like, who the fuck is Doctus, and why is she here?
Okay, and now I'll understand it because I watched this thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
And they do kind of explain it, as we said, but there's that jarring moment of, like, oh, shit has happened, apparently.
It's still it's still got to be the strangest thing we've done on the show.
Now, I have a theory about episode 3 I want to talk about when we get there, which will be in a few weeks, in like a month or something from the
Yeah, you'll be hearing this actually like a week or so before 3 goes up.
Yeah, so we'll have a lot to talk about then, because I think 3 is really interesting in its plot construction for a bunch of other reasons.
Yeah.
But this is such an interesting little microcosm of like how much they were pushing to just get the story out there somehow.
I mean, they were ambitious. You can never say they weren't ambitious.
Like, how do you even like pitch and or greenlight this? It's like, we're gonna do.
It probably didn't cost much.
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, the art is not super great. It looks like Xenosaga the animation, which is an art style I do not really like. Also looks like Xenosaga 1 and 2, which is the remake of the first 2 games, obviously. And so it's kind of the thing that was progressing at this time. I guess it made sense to put it here.
It is really weird that it exists. That's all.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I mean, this is even weirder than the Kingdom Hearts stuff we've done so far.
But like that stuff is like relatively accessible in comparison.
This is not
true.
Like,
I didn't realize it went down that quick. Like right when 3 comes out, they just take it down. And
yeah,
like,
it was up for like a year or 2, apparently.
It's not very long.
Like back in the day, it's like, oh, that sounds really interesting. I don't know what that is, but like I would love to see that at some point. And now we have the access.
But you never thought you'd talk about that on a podcast, did you, Dominic? Huh?
No. But then it's like, okay, so what's this what's this visual novel stuff in Xenosaga Freaks about? Is there like a chapter about what Xion was doing in her teenage years that somehow also shapes what comes from that? Who knows? No one talks about it.
I mean, it doesn't help that all this stuff was only Japan, so
Right.
It cuts down the amount of people that could have experienced it. And then, I mean, was Xenosaga ever that big of a series too?
The first one sold like a couple million, I think.
By anticipation, I was one of them.
The second one did not. So then they're like, "Fuck it, wrap it up."
Garbage.
And whose fault was that?
Theirs.
Everyone's.
I hated that game so much. I almost didn't want to put 3 on the show, but you're like, it's better, I promise. I'm like, all right.
It is better. It is more
2
interesting.
really hurt. 2 hurt me.
I mean, now that you have an idea of what 3 is about, given that this sets it all up, is it at least a little intriguing?
I mean, I'm curious to play 3 anyway. Like, this did nothing for me, other than it gave us a topic to talk about. Other than that, it did nothing, to be completely honest. It's just, I didn't understand it enough. I just read a visual novel. I went, okay. That was about it.
Yeah.
And I'm also glad I could read fast, because this guy cut through some of the text pretty quickly.
I was pausing that shit and just reading it.
I can read really fast, actually, which is very useful in my job. But so that's what I did. But no, I don't blame you, because it was short.
Yeah, I watched most of my videos on at least 1.5 speed. So getting through this, I did have to slow it down quite a bit. Just to keep up. It's like, Jesus, you got to read a lot of this stuff. Otherwise, it goes very quickly.
No, also, when they do talk, it's in a language that I'm assuming you don't speak either.
It's interesting that they hired the voice actors to do the roles. Like, they got music for it.
Yeah.
At least the audio team spent some time working on this.
Maybe browser games are more popular. I mean...
This was like the Newgrounds time.
Yeah.
Like, people were doing these kind of games nonstop. You could find Flash games in 2000. What was this? 2006, 2008.
Yeah, they were all over the place then.
Yeah, that was it. Like, this is what you did after school.
Yeah, I remember playing Flash games a lot.
But even then, like I said, like you could attack on some dungeons to this, give us a few boss fights, and make this like an 8-hour game or something.
You could just make it a game.
You could have made a fighting game between Doctus and Cosmos and like sold that even.
Like there are definitely segments that feel disjointed because it just kind of starts somewhere else.
Shit, you know, it would have been cool if you went back to the Xenogears route and you had the fighting game and the robot fighting game, because Jin gets his new ES in this too. So you could do that as well.
All that mech he has is going to be in the new game?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
He's like, I'm going to borrow this for a while. And Yuli's like, know, whatever.
Yeah, okay. I caught that
Meanwhile,
part.
Shion's like, we took a team of eggs out to do some shit. I'm like, really? We're still talking about eggs?
I hate that name. Why couldn't it just been gears?
Eggs? No, it's the Yuzuki way. You just have to borrow stuff from the company for a long time. Yeah, Cosmos. Got the robot.
I do like seeing Cosmos in this, though. I will say that. I like her design.
She shows up when she needs to. She fights. She either gets beaten or kicks ass.
Yeah, she gets her ass wrecked in the first chapter of those.
Yeah. And then she gets a new body. So then you think, oh, she's invincible now. Nothing bad will happen.
Kyle, did you actually watch this 5 times?
Yeah, like I had it on during work, so I just kept like missing parts of it. And I'm like, okay, I didn't really understand that, but I know 3, so then I was like, shit, I keep mixing and I don't want to give too much away, so I had to remember what was in what part. But yeah, I think I started watching it Tuesday, and yeah.
Okay. I would watch
background crap
as I walked around the house.
I think the only thing that's worth spoiling now is that they eventually give the lead chief job to Alan, and that's such a downgrade.
No, Alan, come on.
Alan.
Alan's honestly like the main protagonist of this game.
Of 3, not this.
No, like the whole series. This is Alan. This is Alan's story, and everybody else is just a part of it. That's where
Alan learns to, take assertive, account for himself. Shion learns to,
Shion.
She learns more in episode 3 for sure. Episode 2, her character's a lot of a mess. In episode 1, it's more about her going from being mild-mannered scientist to like, oh shit, things are going down. I kind of need to toughen up a little bit and figure shit out.
Yeah, Alan's just the hero for like not creepily shooting his shot a bunch of times, just like getting his 1 or 2 chances in there and making it work.
But then he has everyone rooting for him and they're shooting his shot for him, and it's very uncomfortable for everybody.
But yeah, go Alan. That's where I'm at.
I don't know. I still think it's a little bit of a downgrade, even though it's literally what happened with Kevin and Shion.
Kevin sucks. Kevin's the worst. Kevin's story is actually really creepy when you get into 3.
Oh god, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's super yuck. Now that
I'm looking forward to 3.
No, well, yeah, 3 is fun, but Kevin in 3 is kind of like, all of this hits wrong now.
Again, there's a really interesting character theory idea to discuss when we get to 3 and what that represents.
Yeah.
So that's a missing year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And we really can't even rank this because it just, there's nothing. You can't. It's not that type. It's not really a game. It's not a movie. It's just a thing that exists. I don't like saying that, but I don't have a better answer.
In the era of multimedia, transmedia, put things everywhere, this was an example of that.
Yeah.
Yes. There was story to fill.
And new frontiers to put it.
And they also did it within 2 pages in the 3rd game on the data files.
But if this is dense, that's even denser.
No, yeah, exactly. It's not well done, but they do kind of cover. Yeah, they cover all of this in the next game in the data files. But if you want to look through all those, like, you are a fan more than I would imagine a lot of fans are these days. There's like 500 of them.
My God, I will not be reading them. I can tell you that much.
I
individual files. There's like 500 or 600. A few here and there. Respect. Like back in the day when I was a kid and had the time, absolutely. Yes. Reviewing for a show, hard pass.
I'm pretty sure 3 brings up Grimoire a couple times. I do not believe they ever mention Almadel.
You could be right there, honestly.
Which is very funny considering that we do see Shion doing her thing at that time. We just don't see her visiting that one girl that few days she was doing it.
All right. I guess that's probably everything to say, right?
You got nothing from it, Mike?
No, I watched it. That's it. I mean, I didn't really understand what I was watching. I was like, oh, okay, pretty colors. That was about
Mike's head.
I would say I got my curiosity satisfied. I appreciated like the weird attempt at doing something.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
Yeah, I can go there. Like, it's interesting. I mean, I'm happy to cover random shit because even like this is just gonna be an extra episode that comes out in the week instead of my normal 3. My normal 4 people get more than that this month or this week because I'm like, this is a niche audience that's gonna listen to this episode.
Kind of.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I went through and watched it. I've been getting into like a weird anime kick over the last couple of months. My wife's busy season anyway, because I've had way more free time to watch anime. Fantastic. So that kind of helped, but this was not the itch that I was looking to scratch. It filled in the blanks, which was nice, but if I had done this in between the games, it would have been a lot more palatable, I think. Doing it after the fact was just kind of like,
because you know stuff.
Fuck, man. Why didn't I know this? Like, why was this so not just right in my face right away? Would have been a little easier.
I remember as a kid, when I was reading books and experiencing stories as a kid, I was always upset that like the plot would skip ahead a week, a month, whatever. Because in my head, it's like, well, they were doing stuff in that week. Why don't we get to see that? And obviously the answer now is like, well, it's not plot relevant. It doesn't matter. But back then I'm like, but I want to know. I want to see like how these things like affected the day to day. And I feel like this kind of gives me a little of that, where she actually like, I wasn't doing anything for a while, and then I got involved.
She wakes up in the next game and you're literally not working at your old position, and nobody really tells you why until you had played this game or look into the data files a little
Right.
deeper.
That's kind of shitty then. Like
that's
should
the
be...
issue. That's
Okay.
the issue with this. That's it. Yeah, like
Okay.
the first time you play Xion, you're basically just on the beach, correct?
Well, there's like a dungeon before that.
Yeah, but you're not. Yeah, I guess you are playing as her, right? Is she part-
You and Noctis are doing some stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's the virtual world. I'm gonna wake up on the beach.
So that's really it. Is like, again, you're just in this thing. It's like, okay, maybe this is a new science-y thing, and then you're like, wait, why beach? Like right away. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're like, oh yeah, I left back there, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and then you get the whole fill, but just like, dang it, you could have even, I don't know.
They wanted an excuse to have the swimsuit costumes.
Yeah, they did. You should have made this an add-on to Dead or Alive Volleyball 4 then on the Xbox.
If that happened,
Yeah.
like if this was today, Xion would definitely be a guest character.
100%, yeah. They should have done that. Yeah.
Did like Dead or Alive Volleyball back then, the first one.
Even the fighting game, it's not that good.
I did like the fighting games too. I was really into Dead or Alive at one point in my life, like super into it.
I like Dead or Alive 2 and 3. They're pretty good fighting games.
That's what I played. It was that 2 mainly. I got super into.
I was more of a Caliber person back then.
I did like Soul Calibur as well.
They're better games. We should go to plugs. And Dominic, where can we find you at?
I am on the Dissonant Waves podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Dissonant Waves, and I'm also on the Overworld Facebook group, and I have a Blue Sky at DACICHOCKLI.bsky.social.
And Kyle.
All right, Kyle from The RPG Show, therpgshow.com, Blue Sky at The RPG Show. We did not do our Romancing Saga 2 episode this week, so if people have questions for it upcoming, let me know, and we will be covering that in the next probably 7 days.
This will probably already be, unless you're basing on this is coming out early.
Touche, never mind. So then coming out in early May, we'll probably have our episode out, so listen to our Romancing 2 episode,
Right.
and our next ones will be Lunar 1 and 2 remasters.
I live in a time paradox depending on what.
I always forget that if they're minis or not. That's my fault.
I have a whole list of when stuff releases as I plan it, so I'm like super organized.
Like, what's the longest you've
Ridiculous
held on to an episode or a mini or something and not released it?
Dragon Quest was 5 weeks.
Was it that long that I said?
4 or 5, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, usually that's right now. My rule of thumb is get stuff out the following month. There were times in the older style when I didn't release as many episodes where some stuff sat in the can for like 3 months.
Interesting. Okay.
Not anymore, because I also kind of follow a rule of thumb where if I got everything out for the next month and I'm still making content, then it's just getting released whenever. Like, it doesn't follow the same. Yeah, I got a crazy algorithm in my head that I follow for publication.
Much
I like
respect to
data.
you.
I math it all out in my head of how I want to do it and what I would do in different situations. I just don't talk about it, but it's all there.
Fascinating.
All right, if you enjoyed this episode, over 900 episodes of this podcast, we do movies, TV shows, video games, comics, all sorts of content. If you want to hear the rest of our Xenosaga stuff, it will all be in the show notes, so check that out. And if you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon. A little dog vote in our Patreon poll. We have 1 to 2 polls a month. Currently, probably 2. There'll be 2 polls again by the time when you hear this. And so check that out. And if you donate $10 or more, I will plug your podcast, YouTube, whatever it is that you do. Every episode I make during the month, and I make a shit ton. Obviously, you guys sincere. And those plugs don't go away. Like these lovely people, Phoebe Stanton, the Let's Play Princess on YouTube and Twitch. And check out her podcast, Nerds of Broadcast. She's the Let's Play Princess. And also check out Zach's podcast, absolutely the best podcast of work in progress. They talk about the MCU movies, and they are currently doing the Alien Predator franchise. And also check out A Gamer Looks at 40 with Bill Tucker and his new podcast, Carrying My Cross. And want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, Chris Helena at Hell Has Fury. You can follow her on TikTok and Instagram. And please join our Discord. If you want to be in the show, you want to suggest things to the show, join the Discord. I'm always happy to have new people join us on there. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, audio only, and rate and reviews wherever you get your podcast. I think that's everything I need to say, so we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Make sure to tell Mike what's even more obscure than this.
Sayonara, baby.